we're good. Good to go.
You guys are good to go when you're ready to go.
All right, thanks. Okay, I've got 6:04 p.m. and I'm going to open up the meeting. Let's start with roll call, please.
Greg Demas.
Tony Stein.
Michael Hall.
Dave Bench. I don't know if you key in or not.
Nope. Lee Simmons, City Attorney.
Very good. All right. And first item on our agenda is the public comments. Is there anyone here who's showed up to make public comments? Okay. Second, we have our, what do we call it, consent agenda, which consists of meeting minutes from 2 different meetings. I trust everybody has had a chance to look them over. We have a motion.
I would move to approve the minutes from the prior 2 meetings. Can we do that in one?
Okay.
Second it.
Second, all right. All in favor of approving the minutes as written, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming. It has been a long time. I would like to, as much of a courtesy, but also recognizing that you guys kind of need to know what's going on as far as the CRCRC is going on. I wanted to get in front of you all and have an opportunity and just tell you where we are, how we got to where we are, where we think we're headed next, and give you an opportunity to comment, make suggestions, invite you to participate. You will become a much more important part of whatever is going on here than what might appear to be. So this ought to go pretty quickly. By all means, feel free to stop me and ask questions. I don't want any mystery behind it all. Okay, so going through it, on March 27th, this group here endorsed the formation of the Comprehensive Residential Code Review Committee, the CRCRC, and its charter, which we are still following. On March 22nd, City Council made that same approval of the formation and the 6 members that were appointed to it. On the 5th of April, the CRCRC had its first meeting, and in it we kind of discussed what we thought we would be covering, and really not a whole lot more. No action was taken. In May, on May 23rd, a survey subcommittee was formed, and the 3 people assigned to that committee set to work on a survey that tried to be unbiased, something that would go out to the public. The charter of the CRCRC shows that the primary purpose is to determine whether or not if the public thinks that there are issues with the residential codes, and if so, what those issues might be, and then to make recommendations as to how to resolve those issues. So the survey was determined to be a good start. We'd already gone through the survey that had been conducted by the comprehensive plan, mined out of it what we could with regard to what public opinion was, but recommended or recognized that there were a number of gaps that needed to be filled, and this survey intends to do that. So soon thereafter, we had a public workshop here where we talked about the various emails that we had gotten from the citizenry here. We talked about what kinds of actions had happened here in Rolling Wood all the way back to 2004. We talked about some of the stuff that P&Z had talked about with regard to building heights and geometries and things of that nature. We had, I think, about 12 posters up here with a whole bunch of information on them. We did not get the turnout that we had hoped that we would get, but it was our intention to ensure the public that we're trying to be as transparent as possible and to keep the public as engaged as much as possible throughout the process that we're going through. And I think to that extent, I think that we were successful. Later that month, we had the first draft of that survey come out, and it was partially reviewed by the group. We didn't quite get through it. One member of the group decided that this was not the direction that he wanted to go in, and decided to remove himself from the committee. That caused us the issue that it would become very difficult for us to make a quorum. Another issue came up with regard to Tom Farrell being chair. He said that he was not well positioned to be able to continue as chair. He would like to stay with the committee, but it would not work out for him to be the chair. So we took this to the next city council meeting, or I took it to the next city council meeting, and asked for a number of things. And the first was to increase the membership of the CRC to 7, so that we could more easily achieve a quorum, and also so that we could break any ties that needed to be broken during a vote. Even though the charter showed 6 members on it, and it said that city council would appoint any other members that needed to be brought into the group, there was no real process set aside how to do that. So we decided that city council and I decided that we would take whoever had applied for a position on the CRC and mix that up with whoever we had canvassed ourselves to be on the CRCRC, and then make a determination as a group as to who might be best suited for the group, or at least presently. And so that was the process, and then we would take that recommendation to city council and ask them to bless it. So that is a process that is ongoing right now. Since Tom had asked me to take over as the chair of the committee, and so I took that up to city council, and they all approved, and here I am. And I made a big ask at that point as to whether or not, given the issues that we had had in conducting meetings and achieving quorums and the use of Zoom and some other things, I asked right off the get whether city council would relax some of the restrictions that are put on us by the Open Meetings Act. Some of the logic behind that is that we're not really a legislative body, we're more of a work group, and that what came from us was literally just recommendations. It was not a set of complete ordinances or anything like that. Really, the ordinance begins here with P&Z. All that the CRCRC is ordained to do is to go and find out what the public wants done, and then try to get that ball rolling. So, and that has been under some consideration I can discuss here in a second. On the 1st of August, we got about our 5th version of the survey out in front of the CRC, in front of the whole group, and the group tentatively approved it, pretty much the way it is written, with the idea that we're going to add some additional questions to determine who's in fact answering the thing, the demographics. On the 16th, City Council approved a change to the ordinance that requires that all council-appointed committees be required to follow the OMA. They had loosened the restriction to allow them to change it as needed. If there was no absolute requirement for a committee to follow the OMA, City Council could make a determination and say, well, we don't need them to do this, or we can lessen what the requirements are. So, in the following meeting, it was determined that there would be some consideration as to how those OMA requirements would be relaxed. Now, throughout all this, I haven't listed every meeting that's been part of the CRCRC or City Council having to do with it. But throughout all this, since the 5th of April, we've received over 75 emails from citizens stating their concerns about residential code, going in both directions, make changes to it or don't make changes to it, do it quickly, do it slowly, things you probably are aware of. We'd had a lot of discussion about building heights, setbacks. We introduced FAR into the question, the floor area ratio. Talked about roof geometry, dark sky ordinances as they are in other municipalities. Talked about our tree ordinance a little bit, what kinds of changes might need to be made to it. And also since then, we've interviewed a number of people who have expressed interest in being on the CRCRC and who would like to who would like to replace the folks that have left. And to that, so what's going to happen is tomorrow night we have a CRCRC meeting. And in that meeting, the first order of business is to review the applicants and make a recommendation so that we can take it to the next city council meeting and have them appointed, and then we'll have a group of 7. You folks are certainly welcome to attend and watch this.
What time is the meeting?
That meeting is at 5. So, in addition, what we're going to do, and I think we'll get that finished. So you know,
So
we'd
that
had
would be, there's 2 positions?
we're going to fill 2 positions. We'd had
And that would be Tom and Ryan?
no, it will be Ryan and a new position.
Okay.
Tom's still on.
Okay. So it started out as 6?
It started with 6, and we're going to bump it to 7. Okay. There were a number of people who did apply for a position, and after I'd spoken with them for a long time, they decided they didn't want to do it. So I think, which I thought was a fair way to do it. I actually had every single person over at my house, and we sat and we talked at the kitchen table. I said, this is what's going on, and these are what people are saying, and this is what other people are saying, and you know, this is going to be a very interesting process, but you know, it's not for everybody. And a number of people had gone back to the house and thought about it a couple of days and let me know, no, I don't think that's for me. And it's fine. But the people that we do have who have stayed on, I'm looking forward to working with them in the new group.
How many formal applicants do y'all have?
We have 3 formal applicants right now remaining. And from that, we'll take 2. Okay? Also tomorrow evening, we're going to look at what the demographics of this survey need to be. Like, there's been some question as to whether or not we should allow renters to be participants in this, or builders to be participants in it, or people who bought property in Rollingwood but don't actually reside there. So we're going to make sure that we get all that stuff, get those T's crossed before we go forward. I put together a document that I think really needed to happen right at the onset of the CRCRC, which is a process document, and it talks about how we're going to work through this process, including a survey, including public review, including going to the P&Z, including all the things that this group really needs to do in order to be sure that we've covered all the bases, that we're as transparent as we can possibly be, and that we've given everybody in Rowanwood the opportunity to comment and make their opinions known. So we're going to look at that tomorrow night as well. We already had a quick look at it once, but we got to get it approved. And we have engaged a company called Bowie, who had worked with the Comprehensive Plan Committee as a company that can help us administer the survey electronically. Last time they used a device called SurveyMonkey to get the survey out to the public. I think we're going to go the same way. We're trying to nail down exactly what it is they're going to charge us to do it, and that's partially dependent on the membership of the CRCRC participating in different things, maybe knocking on doors or getting flyers out or something like that. The more participation we have from the CRCRC, the less it's going to cost us to work with Bowie companies. So we're going to try to get that stuff. We're trying to do this cheaply. So, our next steps are on, you saw the sign up at the intersection up above there. There's going to be a Rowanwood night out. We're going to put up a table and some posters and let people know that we're still out there, and that if they have any questions about what our process is or what their concerns are about codes or any of that stuff, we want to be front and center and give them an opportunity to talk with us. Then we're going, anybody have any questions so far? Okay. See, this is going pretty quick.
I'll have some after.
Okay, very good. Okay, save them for the end. That's good. Okay. Our next city council meeting, we're going to ask for approval for the new membership ads. We're going to request, we should have a solid number by then for survey appropriation, what it's going to cost us to do it. I need to get city council to approve that number. Then after that, we'll launch the survey with the Bowie company, analyze the survey results, and then share those survey results and analysis with the public. For the future, we're going to have a number of block presentations. We're going to try to split up and go to different parts of Rowanwood as these things come together. As we get an idea of what the people are saying, we want to take it out to the corners of Rowanwood and set up a table and a poster and say, this is what we're hearing from everybody. Here's your opportunity to talk to us, some more, before we take the next step of making recommendations. We're going to do that several times throughout the process. Go out, set up in different parts of Rowanwood, let everyone know that we're doing it, that we're there, we're on this evening. Please come down and talk with us. If you've got anything to say, you are certainly welcome to air your concerns. Then we're going to be developing our recommendations based on survey responses. We'll have public hearings, again, block presentations on those things. Then we're going to bring whatever it is our recommendations are to this group, P&Z. We're going to seek your endorsement for those things and or your recommendations for changes to them, that we can hopefully get to some common ground and take the next steps. Whatever comes out of that process, we'll take up to City Council, and they'll have the opportunity to review it and decide whether or not they want to go forward with whatever those recommendations are. And then it comes back here to P&Z, and it will literally be P&Z that crafts what those changes to any ordinances are going to be. So that's where the real fun will begin for this group.
Can you add a bit more color on it's P&Z that crafts what those changes, those ordinances are? Is that where we would engage some sort of expert as well in terms of, I mean, we've gotten hung up on a lot of our discussions before around, hey, we aren't ordinance experts in terms of the actual language of writing it.
Well, we're not going to actually write, I
Right.
guess. You know, we turn that over to, our legal group to actually
Okay.
write the ordinance. But you have been here while we are looking at ordinances and saying, well, does it need to be tucked or squeezed this way?
Right.
Or doing anything? And we've made a determination. They'd take it away, they'd write a few things. You'd say, okay, that looks good, we'll vote on it, good, you passed it. Let's send it up to city council as written. So, most of the, I think, hard work will have been done by the time it gets to P and Z. We'll have a reason for making a change. We'll have not only reasons for making a change, but reasons not to make a change, what the public is saying, and some of the detail as to what those changes ought to be.
Makes sense.
So I don't think it'll be as hard as what, I'm not saying, we're gonna sit down and actually write the ordinance. But any ordinance that goes, residential ordinance in particular, that goes up to city council has got to go through P and Z first. And, if I had my way, we'd have probably done this entire thing in P and Z. But there was a lot of appetite for spinning off a separate group to do it. Okay, which is probably working out better anyway, but early on I was really kind of concerned that, that really this feels like it's a P and Z job that's being done by somebody else.
Yeah, where I was getting confused about this is recommendations, presentation to P and Z, then we make a recommendation to city council, and then it comes back to us. What is what after it goes to city council, wouldn't they be voting to approve them? What then comes back
Oh,
to
no,
us?
they'd only be
You know?
approving that, that some change needs to be made. That's
Okay.
as far as it gets.
Okay.
That, that they're okay, that, that the work is adequate to say that yes, ordinance changes or not
Mhm.
need to be made. Either the changes are right or they're not. We're hearing, first and foremost is like the building height stuff and all that based on, what we're getting from the public. Is the public ready to make a change?
Yeah, but
Do they really wanna do it?
what I'm asking, this may just be my ignorance in terms of how it works. How does an actual change officially get made? Who is
Yeah, I guess, so
who's
the-
approving that? Is that
The
city
committee
council?
would present concepts, like limit to 3 stories, or we think we should change height or whatever in these general ways. That would come to us first, that would go to council, we agree with that, don't agree with that, whatever, come to some conclusion. We send concepts to city council, they say, we don't like that concept, scrap that, or we like this, come back, and then council, we sort of agree, yeah, we should have an ordinance change to height in these general ways. Attorney crafts that, we work on it, then ultimately we say it's good, then we send it to city council.
And
they
the
say-
council's the one that officially the stamp hits it. It's approved,
Yeah,
and that goes into the code.
planning
Yeah.
and zoning can't do anything.
Yeah,
but-
we're not gonna start
making
building
one.
an ordinance until city council says we should build an ordinance.
Okay.
Right?
And then it's council though that has the final approval. There's no board of
Absolutely.
adjustments involvement. They're only right, it's council. Yeah.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
So it sounds like the 2 phases of P and Z and council would be concepts, then
Right.
details.
Yeah, it's, I don't think that the process should feel strange. It's just that we're doing more than what has been done in the past.
Mhm.
Generally, at least it's been, my observation that what P and Z has done has been kind of nibble at the edges of things.
Mhm.
And some of these, and then make a recommendation, it goes to city council and it get approved. I think there's gonna be more meat on this. So, as I say, I think you'll enjoy the discussion. And we'll have CRCRC members here to talk about it, why we came up with these recommendations, so that they'll be part of the audience. And of course, there's gonna be a lot of public, you can expect
Yeah.
at this point, that there'll be a lot of public input. This is whenever this is gonna start getting crowded. And folks are gonna really start taking an interest in what happens next.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
That's right, I hope so. Maybe, but I think so.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna become very real at that point, right?
That's
Very
right,
close. I think
now we're
it'll
down to
turn
the
out.
finish line.
Yeah.
Tom Farrell puts it very well. He says, these things go and nobody's paying attention and nobody's paying attention, nobody's paying attention, and then it's still going to city council, and then all of a sudden everybody starts showing up. And say, well, why didn't you tell me this was going on? You say, well, we had this open meeting, we had this open meeting, we did this, we had that, we've been advertising, we're sending all this stuff. He says, it's without fail. And he's been doing this a long time, and I have every reason to believe him exactly. So,
Has there been much public participation in any of the meetings?
some of them what we're seeing is a number of people that are asking us to be deliberate and go slow, but we're also seeing people show up who are now having large houses being built next to theirs. And they're telling us, and they're also telling city council. And you can go back, there's a real good example at the very beginning of this last city council meeting. So there are a number of, people in whenever we open up the floor for public comment, there are public comments coming.
And there's been a lot of emails shared with pictures and everything as well.
That's right, they are.
Couple other questions for you, Dave. Can you just provide a little bit more color around the consideration to relax the Open Meetings Act and what that is and why?
Okay,
Curious.
I'm so glad you asked. Frankly, I'm almost amazed that we're able to do any of this at all.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
and I, so you know that we have been talking about the commercial side of all of this for some time. I think, I came on board with P&Z well over a year ago. And we were starting to talk about the commercial side and trying to get some action taken with regard to what came out of the survey and what are we going to turn that into and how are we going to turn that into ordinances. Well, P&Z, we still don't have that.
Yep.
Hasn't happened. We haven't gotten any of it. We've gotten a review of of what happened and what the survey results were and all, but we haven't seen the next step, where it comes to us and we turn it into something. I'm concerned about how long that takes. And given our inability or our difficulty in getting a quorum together, I was concerned that, meetings that are scheduled are not able to happen. And if we're not having meetings under the LMA, we're not doing anything. So nothing is progressing. So I've asked City Council for some specific things, and this is going to go before council. Well, I asked for a couple of things, and then there was some pushback by City Council. Not all the council members are in favor of this, but some are. And what we're talking about right now is, for instance, if we can't achieve a quorum here with everybody being present, like we are today, there's 4 of us, we achieved a quorum. If we can't do it that way, but someone is able to get on Zoom, we'll make that a quorum. That person can be added to the count so that we can achieve a quorum. If we have a quorum, we can make progress. Okay? That's one relaxation. That's something we can't do at P&Z, nor will we ever be given that. But for this group, we're going to allow it to happen. Okay? If we all show up, minus a quorum, and we've got public here and all that, we're going to be able to, on the spot, change it from an official CRC meeting to a workshop, so that the people that are here can at least talk about things, not make decisions. We can have the public present to us at the podium and tell us their thoughts. In other words, when a meeting gets scheduled, we're going to have a meeting, regardless of how many people come. We're going to do something. Okay? That's a relaxation. Let's see. Virtually for purposes. They're going to allow me to, I'm hoping, to send emails to the rest of the CRC people so that we can possibly schedule more meetings that are already on the board, just to see whether or not there's availability, that kind of thing. We already do 2 per month, and but if we've got momentum going and there's an opportunity to have another meeting, I'd like to be able to get one scheduled. Let's see. And I'm going to be allowed to make phone calls too. And we're going to try to get everything that is decided by a subcommittee posted on the CRCRC website so that the other members can see it without having to discuss it with the members of the subcommittee. See, how it has worked, and I know that some of you know this, is that whenever we had a subcommittee, or we do have a subcommittee for doing the survey, there are 3 members on the survey subcommittee. We weren't allowed to talk to the other members of the CRC about where we were coming up with the survey. We could talk to people outside in the community. We could talk to them and say, hey, look, this is the survey we're putting together. What do you think? And it seemed kind of backwards to me. That, you know, here we are, we're talking to the outside, and we can't share what it is we're doing with the CRC people. So we're looking for a way in order to get that stuff shared out early on so they can consider it. Not to talk, not to discuss it, not to make decisions about it, but just so they have it in their mind, okay, yeah, whenever we get to the next meeting, I want to make this point, this point, and this point. So those are the relaxations. It's,
Makes sense.
you know, we're there. I know that there's a lot of concern about this, and about transparency and so on, and concern about us getting together and making decisions outside of the public view, and it's everything but that. We don't want to do that.
Yeah, that leads into my second question. I appreciate the urgency,
Yeah.
and I think it's important urgency,
Yeah.
you know, and that we make progress here. I think the commercial piece is a good illustration, right? We still, as P&Z, haven't seen anything. I was, you know, do you have, in terms of the next steps, or in terms of getting the survey out, launching the survey,
Yeah.
has the CRC discussed any target date?
Yeah, August 22nd.
Yeah, okay, so, I mean, but like, okay, so obviously
Yeah.
that's come and gone, but like, you know, do you feel like it's, you know, imminent after?
We couldn't get there. We couldn't
Yeah.
get there.
Is this potentially 6 more months, you think, before that survey goes out?
No,
Or-
I think, honestly, I think we'll get it out in early October. We
Great.
got to get the funding right, so we got to get past that. It'll take a week or so for the Bowie company to get our survey migrated into, or ported into the SurveyMonkey. We've got I don't know if you've seen the survey. It's been available in various stages at the CRCRC minutes. You can look it up and have a look, but there are a number of things in there that are graphical in nature, you know, pictures, like we had done with the building height stuff, you know, some of that. We finally drew a picture of what a setback looks like. Everybody knows what a setback looks like, but they're wrong. So, that kind of thing.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Any other questions? Any guidance for me or the CRCRC group?
I'll do my best to be here tomorrow night. Like, I haven't really participated much yet. but
I thank you, yeah.
like to thank you for leading that and this.
You know, if you guys showed up at the meetings, just in the audience, it would be great.
Yeah.
You know, just to, you know, hear how things are going or understand what's coming, because whatever we do is coming this way.
Yep.
And I think the more that you know about it in advance, about how we achieved what we did, probably the smoother this business will go around here.
I think there was some discussion at one point of we couldn't have more, maybe a quorum of planning and zoning members at a CRCRC meeting.
That's
Is
right,
that
you
a
can't.
concern?
We can't do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
which I'm not sure we.
Okay, so
that
we can't-
problem,
we
but-
can't-
Can't have a
quorum.
quorum, can't have a quorum of council meeting, or council members either. But,
So if
you know,
4 of us
two,
were to
but
show up,
two,
one of us
two
leave.
people
Yeah.
could come.
Okay.
Two, or I guess even three. Well, I'm
Oh,
on it.
you're on it,
Unfortunately, I'm kind of part of it, so two additional people could come.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I think the.
I said all that right,
transparency-
didn't I? Two more besides me, right? Exactly, right, got it.
Which does seem kind of crazy if we're not making any decisions. It's 4 people listening when we could be watching on Zoom or whatever.
Yeah, it's, I've just found the OMA very difficult. If you want to really get something done, it's a very difficult set of hurdles to get past. So I come from the corporate world. I'm not used to working that way. So
Yeah, you start to learn why government takes a while.
I've learned an awful lot, Tony. This whole thing has been a learning process.
So-
So, but
Well, I think transparency is the key, and it sounds like y'all are doing everything possible. I mean, it's always a struggle to get community engagement. I think, it's a responsibility of these government entities to do everything possible to get that. And, ultimately, I think hopefully at the end of it, like you said, people don't have an excuse saying, I didn't know this was happening, or I didn't have an opportunity. And I think the more outreach y'all can do, I think those, the events that you're talking about are a great idea, and the city, whatever it is, the neighborhood meeting thing that's coming up, or neighborhood event, all that stuff's a great idea.
yeah, I think everybody in Rowanwood has a certain interest in this. It's just a matter of degree, and we need to wake up the people who have low degree. So,
I will say I'm out of ideas of what more you could do. I mean, this has done a lot. You've done a lot. We've done. I mean, in terms of just all the outreach, all the everything you're listing out here. I'd be hard pressed to think of more things that we could do.
open to ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'd be throwing them out if I had them. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that completes that topic. I think, unless there's other questions or discussion, we're not going to make a decision on any of this. It's really just information for your use.
I have a other topic that's unrelated to this, but I can wait until we close this one out, unless we're done here.
I think,
Am I not allowed to bring up another topic if it's not on the agenda? No? Okay.
Yeah.
I can submit it for the next one.
yeah,
Okay.
I'll tell you, on that point, though, I want you to be, the official rules are that if you want me to know that you want a topic posted, send a note to Desiree or to Ashley, or both of them, and say, I'd like to get this scheduled and all that, and then we'll get it onto the agenda, and then you can talk it out.
Great.
But everybody should feel free to do that.
Great.
For that matter, I think that if you happen to run into me, you could probably bring it up.
It's nothing urgent. I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
submit it for the next one.
But yeah, I think what I want to do is to start asking Desiree to send notes out to you, asking if you have any topics that you would like to discuss. Because this shouldn't be a Dave show. It should be an our show. Okay? Okay? Good. Well, I guess that does it. I guess, do we have a motion?
That's the only topic, right? So it's a motion to end the meeting.
Motion to adjourn?
I will move to adjourn. Thank you, Dave.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Second it?
Second, okay. Motion passes. Meeting is adjourned at 6:41.